Hello everyone, I am Boofire191. It's been a while. It's been a grim, dark age, which is why we're going to be starting off this little misadventure with friends where we watch and talk about Gundam Age. The new format is mostly just to, well, help with me deal with the realities of life. My job makes it intensely difficult to make the traditional videos I do, because it takes 20 to 40 hours to make one of those dang things, excluding the time it takes to watch a series. It's a mess. It poops me out. So, with me here today are some friends of mine. We have Smug, Dingle, and Zai today, who are going to be your co-hosts, individuals who I decided to put a gun to their head and say, hey, you're going to watch Age. And they went, aight. So, how you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I'm, functioning.
I exist off of solely energy drinks.
Fantastic. That sounds about right. So, we're gonna start this off by, just giving our first impressions of Age. For context here, we watched the first 3 episodes of Age, nothing else. We haven't watched the entire series. So, based off of those 3 episodes, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? What would you rank this out of 10?
2. I was bored to tears, and I'm grading on a curve here too, because I'm so used to Gundam openings that I'm willing to forgive how slow they always are. But oh man, just nothing about this grabbed me at all. And I've seen this once. I saw it when I was in high school in like 2011 when it was new, and I was willing to give it a chance, and I'm not impressed.
As far as anime adaptations go for games, I'd give it a 3. It's
all right.
It's not great.
What would you give it for? What would you give it as a Gundam series?
As a Gundam series too. No, it's not great. The game's fun.
So you've watched this series before. What's your general impression of the series? Zai said he didn't like it. How do you stand?
I'm in a weird place because I've played the games, the original source. It's good enough, but it's not really like what you go for when you're looking for Gundam.
It didn't translate well.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Well,
Dingle, have you seen this series before? I think you're in the same boat as me, where we both haven't.
No, I came in relatively blind outside of what I've heard from Smug.
All right. So what would you rank it out of 10?
Whew. I'm gonna have to go for a 3.
You liked it more than we did, huh? Interesting.
Cause I see the potential in it. Out of the first 3 episodes, still not good.
So, on that note, because Smug made a good point about Age being a game adaptation. For those of you unaware, like I was until I want to say a couple of years ago when I met these fine people, Gundam Age is an adaptation of a JRPG. It's not an original property like most Gundam TV series are. They didn't make the anime as the anime.
And from what I've gathered, the RPG is actually pretty good. Like, it's a fun game.
I mean, as far as PSP JRPGs go.
So, as far as my own impressions here, within the first, 10 minutes, I was not feeling it. Not because I hated it, but because I was bored to tears. And after the first episode, I would have dropped the series. It kind of has the same thing going on as Seed, where there was nothing really happening, and it was so slow and familiar. It was MSG done not too well.
Oh, and the worst part, unlike Seed, which is telling one story, Age is telling 4.
Yeah,
we'll get sequence.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that towards the end, because I have some thoughts on that. As far as ranking is concerned, after watching those first 3 episodes, I'm gonna cheat here. I don't have a number for you. What I have instead is it reminds me of watching The Dark Crystal for the first time.
Oh no.
I've never seen The Dark Crystal.
There's more to this. Some people say it's a good movie, The Dark Crystal, right? Like, a lot of people like it. It's Jim Henson, right? It's a classic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the
Horror
thing.
movie, I guess?
No, it's puppets.
Puppets.
Here's the thing.
Some might think it's a horror movie.
I mean, puppet horror is a thing.
So, the reason I say that is because of the highly specific context in which I saw the Dark Crystal. So, my family and I was like in 8th grade, and we were in the middle of a move, and my dad was in Denver working, and he was away from us. He was like a good 3, 4, 5 hours away. And it was just my mom, my sister, and I. Well, at the time, we were watching the kids of somebody who had recently moved to the area, which, though they were 3 girls. So, what ended up happening is my mom had her first ever grand mal seizure and collapsed in the living room. I'm freaking out. I'm calling the police. I don't know what's happening. I think she's choking, and I'm panicked. I'm a mess. And then when the ambulance finally shows up, she kind of recovered, but she's completely out of it with like no memory of the past few years. And, well, the people whose kids we were watching ended up, when they got home from work, took my sister and I, and were watching us. So we're in this small, like 3-4 bedroom home, and I'm just lying there on the couch, not knowing how my mom is. My dad is hours away. Just this level of uncertainty and dread. And I'm watching this strange movie with puppets and dark magic, and I don't know what's happening. I'm lost, I'm scared, I'm confused. I'd rather be home, I don't want to be here, but here I am watching the series. That's sort of how I feel about Age at the moment. I'd rather not be, but I'm doing it.
That sounds
you said
traumatic.
you put a gun to our heads, man.
Oh man. So that's kind of my impression. It is the Dark Crystal of Gundam, but it is my Dark Crystal of Gundam. It's it's bizarre feelings.
Comparing it to puppets and cute kid stuff is sort of apt. And then just keep good wholesome children's entertainment in the back of your head, Boo, for like 40 episodes from now.
So, okay, this actually leads us right into, we're gonna hit our next segment and talk about what this series so far has done good. And I'm not gonna say that this is good necessarily, but one thing that struck me is that unlike a lot of the other Gundam series, this one feels distinctly not meant for me. It doesn't feel like something that's meant for teenagers on up, or I guess older adolescents, like most Gundam series, where it's that range of there's a degree of seriousness but also kid friendliness, so everybody can enjoy it, kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. This felt like a series that was meant for people who were far younger. Everything is just clean, everything kind of looks a bit goofy, everything looks like a toy. It feels like a show meant for a younger age demographic, and if that's what they're going for, I think they're doing all right with it. And I think, okay, so on that front, I may not like it, I may be bored to tears, but it's like getting bored to tears over the Teletubbies. Like, it's gonna happen.
So here's the thing, though. Spoilers. It sucks at that job eventually.
Oh,
is all I'm going to say.
All right, so I mean, I've heard
first.
That's
take.
I hate it for that reason.
Really?
Yes, I hate it because it's aimed at younger kids, and it fails miserably at some things.
Okay, so you know what? I suspect that's something that we'll discuss later on in the future. But
yeah, it's a later thing. For the first
we'll
like
put a pin in
2/3
that.
of the show, we're not gonna have to worry about it.
One of the other things that I want to say is actually really good about the series, and the 3rd episode already kind of ruined it, are the villains, the UE, the unknown enemy. Now, let me explain. What I actually really dig about this is within these first 3 episodes, they're not like the Zeon soldiers in MSG, where they're talking, where we get to see what they are, that they're just people. When they're stomping about the city, there's a relatability there. One of the things that I kind of like about the UE is how alien and sort of foreign they are. It's they're more of a natural disaster than people, and they have this level of malice, or no, not malice. They have this level of menace to them because they don't say anything, that we don't get to see who's in the cockpit, as they're just doing their thing, and I think it's really effective and really cool.
It is, especially
And-
with the dragon motif.
Yes,
and the
they're-
interesting mechanical designs. My favorite designs in this series, and the only ones I really like at all, are the villains.
Yes, I will agree. They're not exactly my cup of tea, but I do like them, if that makes sense.
You
Yeah,
know,
if I was like 12, I'd be all over that shit. That's awesome.
But Dingle, you had something to say?
yeah, I was gonna say that, like, what will make the UE even better, in my opinion, is if the sound design was a little stronger on their visor, because if it had like a freaking like loud encounter with the fourth kind, like horn,
You know
that would
what?
be great.
Put a pin on that, because
Yeah.
that is something I really want to complain about in the bad, but we're not there yet.
Oh god, you also have the same ideas about the sound design.
Another thing that I liked is, okay, I don't know if this character is the Char of the series, but in the third episode, a unique version of the enemy mobile suit appears.
The Ace unit.
The Ace unit. And though the Ace unit doesn't say anything, there's a level of character and mystery to it when it's just going about its thing. It shows up to the area full of people, and it takes a while to just sort of assess the area before it gets down to killing everything. Beyond that, it eventually gets shot by Flint, and it goes, "What the hell?" And it kind of brushes it off. And then, Flint does the thing where he T-poses in front of it, tries to get in the way, and then it
just
leaves.
flies off.
It's like I don't know what's going on with that, but it's interesting. It's caught my attention. And so far, the best character in this series is that guy, and he hasn't said a word, which might be bad. Which is concerning.
I like the scene with that guy, the Ace unit, showing up to the Diva, kind of like Fortnite dancing on it, just and then like flying off. He's like, "You're not even worth my time. Get out of my face. I'm out." Also, another great thing about the show is the animation isn't too bad. I like the explosion effects. They're nice and pretty.
All right.
So I will say, just knowing the year this was made and knowing things I do about Sunrise, this was about the time where they really, really hit their stride with like mastering digital coloring of cells. Like 00, you'll see it gets a little choppy sometimes, and spoilers, that's why I think they have so many particle effects in 00, so you can't see that they're bad colors.
What do you think, Spug? What do you like so far?
I have to look at it with the glass half empty again, because I have experience playing it. This is my this is every time I watch like a VN adaptation
Yeah.
or something like that, the same thing happens where it's just like, oh, it's worse. I will say that with the Ace unit, that shit's not in the game. That is cool.
But, right. I think the other thing that this is more of a middle ground. Somebody on the production team liked Gundam X. The captain gives me Jamil vibes, not just because of his ridiculous facial hair and his color coding.
Oh, Grodek is going to be your happy place for a while.
He is my favorite thing about this show.
Yeah, he's the brightest spot in the darkness.
Yeah, like he has some moxie, he has some chops.
He gets to do like the only cool thing in the first 2 episodes.
The other thing is, what was her name? Yurin?
Yeah.
First off, that's a very unfortunate name. Secondly,
Yeah.
She's a very unfortunate person.
She's giving me Tifa vibes.
Welcome to
She should.
Hayami Saori voiced character number 17.
Oh, so she's gonna
Oh,
die. Oh.
Yeah! She's a Gundam pilot girlfriend, boo.
Oh boy. Alright, well, that's unfortunate.
Flick,
should-
he's Eren Yeager, but toned
No,
down
he's not.
for
Oh,
children.
no, he's... No, he's not.
Actually,
He gives me those vibes.
yeah, no, I agree with Dingle on that front. Especially in the first scene where he's trying to pull his mom out of the wreckage, which it actually looks like she could crawl out of it if she tried, but whatever. Like that entire scene, it reminded me of the beginning of Attack on Titan.
We needed to see the Yui just pick her up and just snap her back and then just eat her.
The only other thing that I could think of that I kind of liked, and this was just a that's neat, is the colony core idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about that. So it was completely new to me when I saw it. And I was actually really disappointed that they weren't going to take it with them. They just left it there.
That sounds, you know what? We're not gonna geek over that, but that is an interesting idea for a Gundam series. That's some real Battlestar hours.
Right? Like, that's what I thought, because I don't remember this that well. I thought that, like, okay, so the arc is going to be, they're going to have to protect the civilians and fight around this big structure. We'll have some cool set pieces. Like, yeah, nope, actually, the Federation's going to be here in 10 hours. Everything's fine.
All of those people are gonna have to survive in that colony core, where it's just like, I imagine, like we saw like a horizontal farming in there.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
the
I'm just like,
agricultural section.
and I'm just like, oof, that is gonna be a time. Like I could imagine like an interesting story coming out of that, but we're
Right.
not gonna talk about that because our main character is doing other things.
Yep,
Here's hoping you
he's
don't
got
get
more
ganked
important
by
things to do.
space dragons.
So let's roll into the bad. And alright, this is the very, very, very first thing that came to mind the instant I started the first episode. The sound effects. The beam weapons sounded like, I think, a plasma pistol from Halo.
No,
It's-
it's a Star Wars blaster. That's what it is.
Yeah, they use they use some ILM effects.
Because, like, I know there are some effects that are basically from Star Wars. I remember hearing those, and it stuck out in my mind. Like, the entire soundscape for the series is terrible. The music's not all that good. The sound effects lack that, I guess, meaty, heavy impact that Gundam tends to have.
Oh, that's the worst for me. You gave me a flashback. You remember the bridge scene where he rescues Urine in like episode 2, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being any music. It's just ambient sound effects of the colony collapsing and the Age 1 is walking. And that's when I noticed it, most apparently. The Age 1 weighs nothing. It doesn't sound like a giant robot. It sounds like a poink, poink, poink. I hate that. It drives me bonkers.
It's because Gundam generally has an incredibly good sound design, and it has its own unique sounds when it's not cribbing something from something else every now and again. The beam rifle, the beam saber ignition, just the sound of the robots, everything is so distinct. It's so distinct, in fact, that when I did the 0083 abridged thing, I went scouring for those bloody
the-
sound effects. And
The
it was the
90s
hardest.
head tilt,
Yeah, everything. Because without that, Gundam loses not only a part of its identity, but it lacks style.
Can we talk about how annoying the Diva's alarm is? That thing is like god awful. Like,
I've heard worse.
It doesn't
There's worse in the
have-
franchise. I
It
tuned
doesn't
out
have
instantly.
that white bass, iconic sound. It's just like this kind of shrill pitch, and it's quite annoying in my opinion.
I don't like the Diva at all, so
I am hoping that the Diva transforms into a giant robot,
doesn't.
Macross style. It doesn't?
it doesn't. Never does.
Okay, so I say that because the coloring on it is kind of awful, and I think that's what holds the ship back.
The
'Cause it has-
coloring on every Federation thing is awful.
Well, yeah. A lot of the design work in the series itself isn't all that good. I think the Age 1, except for what it does with the horns, which the G itself also does eventually. That's cool. Everything else about the thing is just ugly as sin.
Oh, I actually hate the horns. Give me a proper V-fin, man.
I kind of like the devil horns. It
Look-
it depends upon the suit.
Well, here's the thing. The G-Self rocks because the G-Self has its entire own motif. It doesn't have the paired slits for the mouth. It has these weird
Yes, it's
expressive
doing its own
eyes.
thing. It's not
Yeah,
an
that's
RX-78 done bad.
This is Grandpappy with devil horns, which
Yeah.
apt, if you've seen the show before, actually, and you know things about Flitsuno, but I don't. I'm supposed to not at this point, so no. Also, his name is Flit, not Flint.
Oh, did I screw that up? Oops.
Twice now.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's
you know what?
fine.
I'm gonna call him
fine,
Flint
Bill.
because this show is starting to remind me of Michigan.
Oof. You heard it here first, folks. Gundam Age, the Michigan of Gundam.
I was well aware that this changes protagonists as we go, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought there was only 3 of them, not 4.
There are only
No,
3 of them.
there is 3. It's just
There's
there's
3?
a big
The 4th
epilogue.
arc is all 3 together.
Okay,
Yeah.
so bearing all of that in mind, I'm sensing some real trouble with this show.
Yeah.
Because Zai, I've never been able to properly articulate this, but in the past we've talked about Tomino's pacing, and you've said his pacing is bad. I've never been able to agree. Now, I finally figured out why. Age helped me put that to words. On a overarching series basis, a Tomino show does drag on. However, the individual episodes are paced extremely well. Something is
Yeah.
always happening every single time, so you don't notice it until
Notice
you take
it.
a step
Mhm.
back. The
Yeah,
problem-
I've never meant that as like on an individual episode basis. The guy writes great TV.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know how to use his time overall the best. And he's good in spite of that. Don't take this as me knocking Tomino.
Oh
I
no,
love the guy.
It's one of those things where I was watching the first episode. I look and I went, holy crap! It has been 14 minutes of exposition.
They waste so much time.
Nothing is happening. It's not well done, and this happens in the second episode as well. And the third episode, virtually nothing happens until the very end.
You want to know what the worst part is?
What?
The first arc is only the first 13 episodes.
Yeah, I don't see how this is
They
going to be.
wasted a quarter of their time already.
Yeah, that's the problem I suspect is going to be occurring for the entire show.
And you see, the thing is that, like, the way I put it in my head is, like, from watching the first episode is, this is Professor Layton high on whatever drugs that he does, talking to Luke, and he's like, my boy Luke, have you ever heard of 0079 and its protagonist, Flint Asuna? Professor Layton, I'm not sure that's the right
He has
show.
green hair!
He's
And
green
the Gundam
hair.
has devil horns.
And Zeon has dragons.
And suddenly
It's totally
Gundam Age
UC.
happened.
You saw the Salamists in the opening set.
I saw them
in the opening
crash,
bit.
but that's just a reference. This has nothing to do with anything.
Totally.
I don't know if this is a positive or a negative, but just the idea that Gundam Age is the sequel to whatever Gundam series fixes its crap, I think that might make me depressed.
It will. It is. Also, I want to dial back real quick just because there's actually something good I can say about Age. This pacing problem, to my knowledge, it might prove me incorrect later, is only at the beginning and the end. The middle parts of the series seem to know what they're doing better
Okay.
with
Then
using their time.
I'll look forward to that.
The second part is the best part.
Smug, do you have anything that you'd like to mention that's been kind of bad, especially with your background pertaining to the game?
This show in general condenses a lot.
What?
Because think
What? Dude,
Yeah.
we wasted 3 episodes on the beginning dungeon crawl. How did we condense anything?
Smug, real quick.
Yeah.
What did it condense?
in the no, this is this shit that comes up later. But like in the opening first 3 episodes, it's less condensing because they have to keep up, or fuck it, they have to set up things.
Okay.
They're trying to keep it going, but it just doesn't really work.
So, for the sake of an adaptation, considering the problem that they may have in the future, they should have shortened this down to be snappier. Is that about right?
Yes. Oh, definitely. They made some really weird changes as well. Like fucking colony big man Bruiser. Him kamikazing, whoever, to get the supports or whatever. That's a section with you chopping down those supports.
No, instead they put the only blood in there, which was really jarring to me, because no mobile suit has gotten damaged at all in this entire thing. Like, they just get shot and they don't even put a little scuff mark on the animation
Yeah.
model. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, this guy's bleeding out for like 10 minutes.
Bruiser reminds me of he reminds me of the third Hokage in the sense of he takes in Flint Asuna. Like, we see the flashback of that.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm just like, this guy doesn't remind me at all of a father figure, and it reminds me of just like, he tells him, he's like, I don't really care about you. Just, make the Gundams like your family does. And it reminds me of Naruto and how the third Hokage just kind of let him get like bullied by the entire village, even though he was supposed to take him in. And I
Get
was
used
just like,
to that, Dingle.
Are we supposed to care about this man?
No, yes, that's the problem. That's that problem I was alluding to. Age is tone deaf.
Can we talk about Grodic for a second?
Yes,
Now,
please.
he's-
Commander Sideburns, my one and only joy in this dark time.
Okay, so you guys like, I know Smug and Zai like Grodic. And, like, he has some spunk. I like him. But at the same time, like, they didn't really quite elaborate as well as I wanted them to on why he decided to, commandeer the diva like he did.
Okay,
I
so
think
I
you
miss
find
that?
out.
No,
you're gonna
what-
find out later.
Yeah, so I imagine either A, it'll be revealed later, or B, using context clues from what we've seen, he picked up on that. That's
Okay,
fine.
And I like a majority of the character design for the most part. There are a lot of like diverse looking characters.
Oh, I hate it.
I just would say my two biggest gripes. Adams, the guy on the ship, the black guy. Come on, Japan.
It's 2011.
Come
You
on.
guys know better.
Come on, Japan. And then second of all, the gnome looking kid. I can't think of his name.
Oh, fucking DK or whatever.
Yeah, the kid who's following around Emily.
The fat
Yeah.
friend.
Fat gnome, as I like to call him. He's
Yeah.
just. I'm
I-
like,
Boy, the
I
red
hate
cap.
that design so much.
I hate Age's character designs because and it's neither. Okay, so there's two kinds of character designs in this show, which is why I hate it. It's inconsistent. There's the JRPG characters who are like Flit, his Sailor Mass, whose name I can't remember. Emily, I think is her name. Their fat friend. Some of the teachers. Like, okay, cool. They're like whimsical, kind of little Disney-ish. Kids JRPG characters. And then the rest of everyone is a Gundam character. Pick one.
So I think that's really the most I can say for the bad pertaining to this series as of now. As it stands, if I was watching this myself, I'd have stopped. There actually is one other thing that I can think of, and this is a gripe that I don't have with just Age, but rather it's something I've found basically every Gundam protagonist I don't like has this going on. In my opinion, a Gundam protagonist should either A, be like your everyman, your Kouraki, your Shiro Amada, or it should be your sort of weird goofball social outcast, like Amuro, like Camille, because there's a level of you can relate to them. You can kind of understand where they're coming from, and you can, in some capacity, put yourself in their shoes. The problem with somebody like Kira, the problem with someone like Flint, I'm gonna just call him Flint. The problem with
Fine.
Flint is that he has the same issue as sort of like Kira.
He's a
kind
spoiled
of
brat.
He's this super genius, super rich, spoiled brat who, good God, everybody just loves him, and it's
Oh man,
it's not interesting.
I forgot how much I was not expecting. I hate Flit, for the record. I forgot how much I was gonna hate him from the word go, because he faces no repercussions for the stupid shit he does, where in any other Gundam series, like, someone would have died because he took the Age out and left the door open, and he would have learned not to do that. Here, it's fine, it's never addressed. He doesn't even really seem like he's in all that much danger because the Age 1 is so gosh darn tough.
Yeah,
Also, not to mention, like, he literally T-posed on an enemy.
And he didn't, in space, and
See,
he
in
didn't go
space.
around him.
and you know
Didn't
what?
just fly around him and kill his friends.
I'm all right with that.
I know why. There's a reason why, but if I didn't, I'd be pissed at it.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. There is probably a reason, but without that context, that says a lot more about that pilot than Flint.
Mm-hmm.
But
Biting my tongue.
yeah. So, are there any closing thoughts that you guys may have about Gundam Age to wrap this up?
Not that much. Just it's what it is. It's a bad adaptation. If you can read Japanese, or if you're fine with a UI patch and translating things bit by bit with machine translation, Universe Excel, it's pretty good.
All right, Dingle.
I feel that this show is. I see some potential in it. I'm willing to give things a slow start because I love JoJo Part 1, and that one has kind of a slow start at the beginning. And I just feel that the show is extremely lacking, and it does not appeal to what I have to look forward to in a Gundam series. Overall, I do not recommend going forward, but, you know, we wouldn't have a show if we didn't go forward. So that's my thoughts.
All right.
Yeah, we're in for some shit, guys. I will say though, there are a couple of things in this that I actually kind of like and don't remember liking when I went through first time. Like the concept of the age builder. I know what it does, and it's not going to be all that cool, but it could be cool. Like there's a lot of potential there. The concept of the UE could be cool. No, it's not gonna be, but it could. There's potential for good stories here. There's potential for a good kids mecha show here. If it got things right, this would be great for getting people to jump on the franchise, which I think was the idea. However, instead we have rifle-barreled beam rifles that spin beams and the worst Gundam protagonist in the franchise.
And that's not how that works. Yeah, so I think you guys all summarize where I'm at with it. There's really not much else to say. We've been actually going on for a pretty good while here. So, before wrapping this up, what I want to do is I want to give a personal thank you to all the patrons I've had, just period. The past year has been intensely trying for me as an individual. I'm not going to go into details here. Maybe one day I will, but think of it this way. I was willing and able to continue making videos after my dad died. The things that have happened, it's been arguably worse and a lot harder to deal with, and it's been a lot of things building up on top of each other. So, from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate everybody who has stuck with me and has reached out to ask if I was alright, and just try to check in on me. I know I didn't respond to everybody because, again, I haven't been in a very good spot. But I'm gonna go through the patrons here and just thank them all off one by one. I'm not gonna say your last name, just in case there's a sake of privacy there. So, thank you, Kekin, Keen Massenthrope, Josh, Spag, Joseph, Padden, my boy Coveys, Mace, Mechanoid Gunboy, The Single Way Out, Don, The Sound of a Distant Microwave, The Myth, Striker, Roan, Shockfist, Death Scythe, Ken, Selfadrome. Dude, I thank you for sticking around for as long as you have. He's been one of my first subscribers and constant viewers for a very long time now. It means a lot, dude. I don't know how to properly express it. It kind of takes... I'm at a loss for words. Kyle Commissar, King Delirious, Father Keel, Father Quell with 2 E's. I apologize if I said that wrong. Matthew, Dan, Travis, and Voice of the Emperor. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Patreon is still kind of alien to me. I'm a bit of an old guy when it comes to certain sites, and I'm probably gonna say your guys' names at the end of each video for a long while now. And yeah, that's really all I have. But before we wrap this up, do you guys have anything that you would wish to plug?
So, if you want to hear more of me and Smoog and a couple of our other friends, you can check us out at Sage Time. which is our YouTube channel. We have 2 videos up, one talking about Gundam Evolution, and the other one is a Fire Emblem playthrough. So, yeah.
Oh, which Fire Emblem?
Path of Radiance.
Oh, that's the one I like. Let me come visit.
Will do eventually.
So I will say that has my personal recommendation. I've watched Smug edit the Fire Emblem video. I know the people involved. They're good. You'll enjoy yourself. I've been Boofire191. These have been my friends, and I'll see you guys all next time for another chat about Gundam Age. Goodbye.